So I never really thought I would get to this point in my life of being like so busy, so preoccupied with all these habits, exercise, devotions, that it has like literally taken away from how loving I can be to others, which is so annoying and so like counterintuitive, counterproductive when you're trying to be a better Christian. And I'm going to mass, I'm saying the rosary, I'm reading the Bible, I'm working out a ton, I'm trying to, stretch, whatever. And then my mom tries to talk to him like, Mom, like, I can't be bothered. I'm too busy. I'm trying to do this stuff. And it's like, I don't know. It's been rough for me. I've been way too busy, doing way too much stuff. And I've kind of noticed this like productivity creep over the last couple of years where I started, self-improvement secularly with the advice of this guy, Hams on the internet, who I really like, maybe about 4 or 5 years ago at this point. I think 4. And I had a habit tracker, and it was really cool. I had like working out, cold showers, journaling, stretching, etc., etc. And that was a lot. That was a lot of stuff. And I realized is I've kind of treated my faith and religious devotions like that too, like habits or routine, which is good, which can be good in a sense of trying to like build up the discipline to get to them. But it's gotten to the point to me where I've felt bound. I've felt not free by rules and obligations that I put on myself. Again, I've said this before, I'm Catholic. I believe that is the true form of Christianity that Christ literally gave to us. He gave us the church, and the church obliges with my time. I go to Mass on Sunday. That's it. That's it. There's so much freedom there besides that. Yes, it's recommended to read the Bible, to read scripture this way, to pray this way, to say the rosary, maybe go to daily Mass, yada, yada, yada. But that's it. Just Sunday Mass. That is all we are obliged to do. And everything else is added. Everything else is a choice. And I realize I've kind of chose too much stuff. And again, like I said at the start, like doing so much, and it's ironic to where I'm doing so much that I'm too busy, or I'm like rushing to say my rosary, that I like snap at my dad and I'm rude to my mom. And like the point of these devotions and these habits is to make me to love God better, to be more charitable, but they're hindering me because I'm so preoccupied with them and so busy and wrapped up that I have to do them, that I have to. So I brought this to a friend about how, I had this idea about exercise, which I really liked, where I'm going to do jujitsu 3 times a week, running 3 times a week, and lift 4. And the point of that is like minimum effective volume, but, trying to do just enough, but also a little more to progress each week and each week. But this is the baseline, the non-negotiables. And then I realized I did that with faith, with my devotions. And it just took so much time. It took so much time from me. And I didn't feel free. And I was telling this to my buddy, a very smart guy, and he started talking about I think it's the 3rd commandment, to honor the Sabbath. So I'm going to read that. This is from when Moses is reminding the people of them in Deuteronomy chapter 5. It is the, I guess, 4th commandment. Wait, 3rd or 4th? Can't count. Okay, this is Deuteronomy 5, chapter 12. Observe the Sabbath day by keeping it holy, as the Lord your God has commanded you. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the 7th day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. On it you shall not do any work, neither you, nor your son or daughter, nor your male or female servant, nor your ox, your donkey, or any of your animals, nor any foreigner residing in your towns, so that your male and female servants may rest as you do. Remember that you were slaves in Egypt, and the Lord your God brought you out of there with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm. Therefore the Lord your God has commanded you to observe the Sabbath day. So obviously in this idea of doing too much, of rest, of how to balance all that, we have the Sabbath, Sunday, the day of complete rest. Take refuge in that. But the other part my friend brought up to me about this commandment is this extra kind of wrinkle in here. Remember that you were slaves in Egypt, and the Lord God brought you out there with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm. In other words, remember You were slaved, and now you're free. We're free. Like, we're free from work. We're free from this world, from the obligations the world can give us, from our families, our work, exercise, whatever. But we have this tendency, or trying to be self-improvement, productive, whatever, to make ourselves not free, to make these rules to ourselves, which can be good and can be very helpful. I want to emphasize, especially when starting out and when you're trying to build like the discipline, like treating the gym like a non-negotiable. That's a good idea. If you can't get your ass to the gym, treating it like a non-negotiable makes a ton of sense. But if you've been going to the gym for 4 years and you're addicted to the gym and you idolize it, and you don't go to the gym when, I don't know, like your buddy calls from out of town, you haven't seen him for 5 years, you're like, nope, I'm going to the gym. God might want you to, be charitable and talk with your friend and enjoy that time with him instead of hammering the gym. So, like, yes, starting out, this discipline, this white knuckling, this brute force, like habits, rules, routine. Yes, that makes sense because you don't have the desire to do the good things. You don't have the desire to go to mass, the desire to go to the gym, the desire to stretch, to be with your family, whatever it may be. But once you do those things and you mold yourself into the person who wants to do them and you have the desire for them, treating it like a non-negotiable, for me, has enslaved me. Like, it's been really annoying. Just feeling so busy because these things, and I can do it. That's the thing. I've grown the discipline. I've grown the self-control, the temperance to wake up early and go to daily mass, to wake up early and run, to do this before work, to work out before and after work, to go work out, go to mass, go to work, work out, stretch, read the Bible, go to bed. That was what I did Thursday. Now, if I lived every day like that, I don't know. It was just one day. I'm only working part-time now. But feeling bound. And in this commandment here, and honoring the Sabbath, yes, again, Sunday specifically, but with all of this too, realizing that we're not slaves. Like, we're not bound to these things of the world. They're stuff, and it's so ironic that we put on ourselves, that no one prescribes to us, but we prescribe to ourselves. And again, for me, I've noticed it costing me my charity. I've noticed it costing me how I can be loving to others, which is just terrible, which is so counterproductive too. And there's another idea kind of wrinkled in here where you're blocking out God. You're blocking out God's grace, nature, will, energy, whatever word you want to call it. Well, yes, there are some people who are called, who have religious devotions, to be monks, to be nuns, where every day is the same and there's intense structure, routine, da-da-da-da-da. I'm not a monk. Not yet. Not right now. Probably not in the future. I don't feel called to it. I feel called to have a family. And will I have these ideas of, what a good day is, what a good day looks like for me? It's kind of funny reflecting on this, that, these habits or these things like 10,000 steps, eating well, working out at this time, praying at this time, feel good. I'm like, oh, I had a good day. I'm going to do these things tomorrow. Or like, I feel like God was with me. I'm going to do this exactly tomorrow. And then tomorrow's bad. Tomorrow I don't feel as good. There's a sense there of, well, attributing your own success to yourself, attributing, doing well in life to what you did, but also of like holding to this routine. And the routine is kind of a crutch. I remember Hamza was talking about that in some video a while back. Routine makes stuff easy. Routine, you don't think about it. You don't really have to discipline yourself once you get in the habit of it. You do this, and this, and you're done. You're not thinking about it, and there's not as much discipline in there. But then there's a knock at the door. There's a homeless, this doesn't happen to me, but like, there's a homeless person at the door. Your mom wants to go for a walk with you. Or, someone comes up at your church, or, your girlfriend's sad and wants to call, or whatever. But you're planning to go pray. You're planning to go to the gym. You're planning to do something well, and something that takes discipline, but something that you've kind of like addicted yourself to in that discipline. And that's the point where I've gotten to, where it's like the flow of grace, the flow of life, God willing for me to do something different than what I do every day has become extremely hard for me to accept. And that's where I feel like I've lost freedom from my religious devotions and from exercise, from fitness. Again, like, yes, there's monks. Yes, routine is good. Doing the same thing every day. Sure. But yeah, I think that's a good example. It's like, your buddy calls up, no, I'm going to the gym. No, I'm going to pray. No, I can't. No, I don't have time. No, I have to do this. I have to do this. And like, the point of all of this is to honor, to glorify, to love God, to get to God. But God sometimes calls us out, and I've realized he's calling me out of this rigid box, this rigid routine. But it's ironic, like I feel like I built this for God, but God didn't necessarily tell me to put this box around myself, to impose these rules on me. These are things that I've imposed. And now it's preventing me from loving my family. And now it's preventing me from, being more go with the flow. I don't like that term at all. That's kind of cringe. But I definitely feel that preventing me from, I don't know, like letting God's grace work through me and guide me each day, because I have such a rigid idea of what to do every day. And it's not a routine or rigidity in terms of like, oh, if I don't know what I'm going to do today, I'm going to do this, this, and this. That's good. That's fine. It's the routine in terms of, no, I must do this. No, I have to do this. Otherwise, I feel like I've had a bad day. Otherwise, I feel lazy. Otherwise, I feel like I've been wasting my time. Otherwise, I feel like I'm not worthy. It's a routine like that where it's hard to break, where something comes up and I don't want to go away with my family on vacation, or even on vacation, I'm running around and doing all these things that I can't like actually find the time for rest. I can't find this time, which I feel like I need, which I feel convicted to slow down, to journal, to read a book, to be with my thoughts and be with myself. But I feel that I must keep up this productivity. But God doesn't call that to me. And that's what's so funny is, like, I literally feel God calling me, like, you're doing too much. But like, at the things I'm doing, I'm telling myself in the back of my head, like, this run is for God because I'm sharpening my soul. Or going to Mass, obviously that's for God. I'm participating in the sacrifice of Mass. This is the best thing I can do for God, for God, for God. But it's exhausting. And that's something there. It's not like, yes, it can be physically exhausting to wake up early to go to Mass, and that can still be a good. But Christ says, take my yoke upon you. Or what's the exact verse? My burden is easy. I don't want to get this wrong. Take my yoke. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me. For I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. So I guess in terms of like discerning if you're doing too much or whatever, it's not, are you yawning tired? It's, is your soul at rest? Because that's what we're promised. That's what we're told, that this living this life of faith will give us, in this earth and in the future. It's not going to be easy, but we'll find rest. We'll find peace for our souls when we orientate ourselves properly to love God, to love neighbor, and to follow Christ. We'll find rest. We'll find true rest for our souls. Oh, my soul hasn't felt rested. And that's so funny. Again, I'm doing these things for God, but not finding rest for my soul. And then realizing that I'm doing them more, in a sense, for myself, for my ego. Because it's easier to read the Bible and go to daily Mass than it is to be kind to my dad. That's the truth. It's easier to say the rosary every day than it is to, always be so present, so loving and kind to my girlfriend. It's easier to, pray before I go to bed than, smile at a homeless person on the street. And that's what I'm learning. And that's what's so ironic, because what's happened with my family is I want to be a joyful witness of the faith for them. And I know deep down that an argument's not going to convince my dad to care about his faith more. It's not going to convince my brother to pray more, explain to him why I should pray more. But me, like the person of me, my energy, my thumos, my spirit, my joy for Christ that you're seeing on this camera right now, that's convincing. That's convicting, not a theological argument. But that's the hardest thing to show. That's why it's so like laughably ironic. It's so hard to show that love, that joy, that peace. And it's ironic because like I do these things, the rosary, prayer, mass, lifting weights, whatever, to build me into that person. But then doing them so much, then ignoring, in a sense, God calling me to rest, that I've become like running around like a chicken with my head cut off, like cuckoo busy, to where I don't have time to talk to my mom, to where I don't have time to be present to my dad because I'm running to say the rosary or running to go on a run. No pun intended. And the outward devotions are easy. They're easy to show. They're easy. We call it virtue signaling. But humility, being kind to the stranger on the street, just as you did for the least of mine, you did it to me, that's damn difficult. That's difficult. And the devotions don't give it to you right away, and that makes it more difficult. But it takes time. One thing I'll say, I'm realizing this now, is I've journaled for forever, for like 4 years straight. And like this summer, I've completely like ditched it because I've wanted to make time to go to bed. And the journal and reading it back really keeps me accountable to how I'm living, to what I'm doing, to if I'm living in a way I want. Because, you know, if I tell myself like, oh, like, I was too busy today, 3 days from now, I kind of forget that. But when I write it down in the journal and I read back, it's like every day, too busy, too busy, too busy. Like, oh, it would look like I'm too busy. But I haven't been doing that. I haven't been good about getting to the journal whatsoever. And I've kind of allowed myself to stop checking in, stop examining myself, and just been like swept up in this wave of busyness that I inflicted on myself. So I pray for myself. I pray for all of you that we may learn balance, which is such a cringy word because you hear it like online secularly, like balance, like don't go to the gym, take a day off, like you're all a special snowflake. But like you're like, no, dude, I'm trying to do my squats. I'm trying to squat heavy. I'm trying to run far. I'm trying to do all this. Like, but there's still balance. There's still balance. So we can still be loving. Because I guess in the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many times you went to mass, how many times you said the rosary. It matters what you did to the least of mine. You did it to me. To clothe those without clothes, to feed the hungry, to visit the captives, to be loving. That's dang difficult. And some of this stuff can help with it. Sure, running. Sure, treating religious devotions like a must-do every day. But it can get in the way. And it's gotten in the way for me. And I hope it doesn't get in the way for you, because it's pretty annoying. Yeah. That's it. Take care. God bless.